Welcome to the 20 Sides podcast. This is a Campaign 1 wrap-up episode. So if this is your first time here with us, we suggest you jump back to episode 1 of Campaign 1 and listen all the way through. Episodes run 30 to 40 minutes, so they're not 4 hours apiece. You're not going to have to dedicate a year of your life to this, but it's intense, it's fast-paced, it's story-driven. You're going to love it. This is a wrap-up episode, so this is not an overview of the campaign. You're not going to get true storyline and detail in that form. This is us as a party getting together to wrap up Campaign 1, talk about the characters and maybe what we would have done differently or what we wouldn't have changed or the places that we went and how we wish we had approached things maybe a little differently. We had such a blast with this conversation. Again, this is part 3, so if you haven't listened to part 1 or 2, you might want to do that. Campaign 2 for us starts January 6th. So just around the corner here, we're going to have a session 0 next week for Campaign 2. So make sure you check that out. We're going to dive into the new characters in the new campaign and all that kind of good stuff. But for now, here is the wrap up of Campaign 1. This is part 3. Enjoy the episode.
Thanks for joining us today. My name is Matt, and I'm sitting down with the 20 Sides crew to kind of give us a overview of the campaign and kind of talk some spoilers and go through it and kind of get into some details of how each and every decision was made.
No, it was 64.
64.
So it was more as 7.
Okay.
More as 7.
Okay.
We're really close.
Really close.
Really close.
But it doesn't feel like that at all. And I feel like
It's because you were so mean to him.
Yeah, just like the whole time we're kind of like outcasts.
So I do feel like people say that often to us. We've heard that feedback.
Yeah.
Not mean, unwelcome.
Yeah.
Unwelcoming. There we go.
And I
Unwelcome.
don't know
Disagree.
if I don't know how it even happened. Like, I know we were like grieving as characters and trying to do that, but that's also, we're not actors
Here's what happened.
professionally. Like,
It was kind of chaotic.
Well, here's what happened. So first, like Silas, the day that 7 died, I came in as a totally different character
Yes.
than Silas.
I mean,
And
like, you
it was
left
a fighter.
the room.
It was a fighter. Like, and I think I didn't have the name Silas. I think I did use the name Silas, but it was a fighter. It was a totally different thing.
So it happened at the very end of this
Happened
day
at
of
the
play.
very end. And so,
But not, I wouldn't even say the very, very end, like 3/4 of the way, because I think we cut early because,
so it was something about, we got into it,
yeah.
and it was almost like Silas was introduced,
Yeah.
and then it ended the day or
Yeah.
whatever.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Matt and I talked, and Bobby had been like, it's hard to not have a healer. Like,
Right.
it's hard to not have somebody that can do some kind of healing. And so Matt and I talked or whatever, and I was like, I want to do something a little, I don't want to be a healer again. And it would be kind of dumb to come back in as a cleric. Like, this wouldn't make sense. And so that's where we came up with the sorcerer, warlock kind of mix or whatever. And so, but there was one thing that I did that day that I was like, I want to do that again because I feel like it was just a fun play into like Lichbane Thunder Force. Like, here's the, when the first time I met Yaros, I was like, oh, you're Yara, like you're Lichbane Thunder Force, like that kind of thing. And so here's what happened.
Oh,
Which
geez.
this is where I think it went. This is where I think it started, and then it was just easy to roll with it.
I think I know where you're going.
Why
with
is he
this.
looking at this side of the table?
Because it happened kind of in that direction.
Right.
But it was not, I mean, it was like a total Leo thing to do.
Yeah.
Where the first time I was like, oh, you guys are I know exactly. Oh, you're Yaros. Oh, you're so cool. And she was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, and that was kind of the start of like, oh, this guy.
Right.
Like, and which is totally, that's a
Fanboy
Leo.
and-
A Leo thing. And so I think it kind of started from there, which made Ordella kind of the same way, where she was like, oh, whatever, whoever this is. We don't even know you.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
know if you're any good or not,
Yeah.
like whatever. And that whole thing is what snowballed into like, shut up, Silas. Like,
Right.
you know, which is
Sick of you,
hilarious. I thought it was
Silas.
hilarious.
I'm actually playing because, I always thought of like 7 as Yarl's best friend
Yeah.
or whatever. So I was like, I was going to play like, the new stepdad or something. It's like, you're not mine. You know, you're not my best friend.
Yeah.
You're to be my best friend now.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was planning on kind of being mean, but these two took it way.
But they took it really far. But what's funny is it opened up these moments where it was like Silas was able to be like, hey, I mean, I'll help you do that. Like, like when she, like, because I was like, well, of course you can read. Like, you know what I mean? So the total opposite of like, like, and you're like, what should I write? And I'm like, well, just write down, like,
trying to win them over.
Yeah. And so, like, Silas is like being the good guy, like, well, yeah, okay, whatever, you know? And so it, like, made people say, like, y'all are being so mean to him because he's obviously nice and doing whatever.
That's the best part. There's no reason to hate him.
Exactly.
Other than he wasn't 7.
Right. Which is totally understandable too.
Because 7 was
It's your fault.
So
My fault.
great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My
I loved him
fault.
so
Can't have
much.
two likable characters.
Right.
Come on.
You came on too strong with like the like
should've.
you know.
You gotta
Should've.
take it a little bit easy. You know,
Should've.
you can't just
Yeah.
it's too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Came on too strong with the fanboy, and I was like, oh, this guy.
And also, we too are in Lich
and then I
Yeah.
so like I
So
took
where'd
it.
y'all pick Silas up at? What location did y'all?
Don't know.
It was right.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, we didn't even care. We didn't even care to remember that.
right after we left Avalon.
We're just gonna skip this whole part
Or
about
in
Silas.
Avalon.
It was in Avalon, so y'all
It was
killed.
underneath the colossal statue.
Yeah.
Yes, it was
Okay.
underneath the colossal statue right before you fought Voskel.
Yeah,
who was
so
the
much
kind of the
the wraith,
mastermind from Thormere
Oh, I
to
liked-
overtake
I liked
Avalon.
that room that we were in with him.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah,
That was a really cool place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there, I think is what spawned a lot of, because Silas was like secretively super knowledgeable
Right.
about all of that stuff. One, because of the other Patreon campaigns. So if you haven't checked out the Patreon
Make
yet,
sure you
make sure you
hop
check
on
that
over.
out, because
Patreon.com/20 sides.
Veil of Shadows, where a lot of the things from Veil of Shadows that he had kind of encountered before he met them were starting to come into play. So he knew, well, I know where one of these are, or I know where, you know, kind of that thing.
Had some knowledge.
Had some
right?
knowledge.
I wonder if that aids in people's ability to like Silas more.
Well, and I don't know,
you know what I mean?
that
And I'm not saying that like
yeah,
as a
that's
joke,
all
but
we
I'm
want.
like,
Yeah.
because you know, Just and I and
the Veil of Shadows part.
the three of us
Yeah.
didn't listen to that, and so I'm like,
right. But the Veil, well,
Yeah.
I'll say, like, I mean, it's not like 100 people. You know what I mean? Like,
That's true.
I mean,
We should take a
we have
survey.
about 20
yeah,
Patreon followers, so there's about 20 that probably listen to it.
Yeah.
So maybe,
yeah.
but I don't know that it's. I don't know. But even to the point that so from there we went to
Yeah.
the mountains.
Yeah.
The mountains.
Went to Thorndrall
And
to get the other gem.
to get the other gem,
Yep.
which is where Silas. Then I was like looking for ways to like, how can I look like the nice guy, you know?
Right, right.
And so I had my 3 servants come and like
right, yeah.
give her.
I think that made it
this
worse.
Or, like,
They make it worse.
I know for sure.
Which is
But
good.
that was the
That's
point.
good.
Was like, hey, look how nice he's being, and they're like,
Yeah.
you stupid.
This guy's got servants. This guy's rich.
He's a rich
rom-com,
servant.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for
What
sure.
he like
But that's what made it funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Giant gargoyle looking guy
Yeah,
with
he's like,
service.
Yeah, it's so funny. That's what made it
Where's
so
the emo
good.
guy?
Yeah.
We're like,
So good.
Right.
So good. Where's the emo guy? He's
We
in
want
all
the emo
black.
guy. That's
Pale
who we want.
skin, all black,
Yeah.
black
If you
hair.
would have shown up to the table
Yeah.
with that character,
That is who I showed up with. That's what Silas
that
looks
is
like.
no.
Not in my mind, he didn't.
Your drawing can look like whatever you want. It's like,
yeah.
Dopey Silas over here.
Yeah, I was
He
thinking
even,
of
he
Thor.
even hit on
Wavy
Leo a couple
hair.
times.
No.
He even hit on Leo a couple
Personalities.
times
like,
when they
ew,
first
no.
started.
Yeah.
It's like not
Who's the hot
interested.
girl
like
over
you're
there?
too alive for me.
I'm like, ew.
Hey, there's the hot
breathing.
emo chick over there.
We're done with
That's
Silas.
so funny.
Anyway,
But yeah, the Yarost arc was really cool
Yeah, it was cool.
because there was a lot that happened there. We spent a lot of time down there.
can I share something about
No, you can't.
that?
You're on mute again.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to be nice to Silas today. So I was in Italy, and my grandpa. We went to go find my grandpa's like where his family is from, and we went off the beaten path, and we like rented this car and drove 2 hours out to this town, and it's called Annonye, and it is a mountain town. It's unbelievably beautiful, and they forge bells there. Like literally, like made the Liberty Bell in that town. So it just, I was just
And you
thinking
brought
about
one
that.
back for 20 sides.
Yeah, and you brought us
There's
the Liberty
one
Bell?
in my there's one in my living room. I can show you. It was so funny how that played in so well because like this mountain town and like the forging.
Yeah,
It was
crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
The when y'all went to was it the Barrel Glades? Is that what it's called? Inside. I think probably the most frustrated y'all were in the campaign playing was one of my favorite moments. Like I loved y'all trying to figure out how to get that door open in the Barrel Glades.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was so cool to see y'all hunt and hunt and hunt. And it was one of those moments where I was just like, they're not there. They're not close. They're asking all the right questions, but they're not close to it. And it was really cool to see y'all like struggle in a something that wasn't just combat.
Yeah. But that's where we got the next
And how
chance.
creepy the ghosts were in that
was
town.
wild.
I liked that.
Yeah.
Do more of that.
There were the maps and stuff, and they were
Yeah. They just kept looping.
more puzzles and stuff, Matt.
We
Yeah.
would love more
Is that
puzzles.
weird? Isn't that weird that we
Where's
like
it wasn't
puzzles?
even a puzzle.
No, but it was
It's
like a mind game.
Right,
You know, we
yeah,
had
yeah.
to
Think
solve.
about
It was
things.
strategy.
Yeah,
We had to
right.
like.
And again, not combat though. Like that's
Yeah.
the
Right.
Yeah, this is where with Yaro's kind of where his arc gets to shine a little bit is where I wish I would have played it up more. Right. To where it's like he had a bigger connection with his like where a lot of his I want my name to be known. I want everyone to know the name Yarost was all because his dad is a well-known blacksmith. Everyone knows who he is. He's cast out from his family. And now he wants to make a bigger shadow than even his dad. So had I played that up more, I felt like this part could have been better had I done it, played up to it.
I took it from an aspect that you wanted to outshine, but when you were in that proximity, like you kind of went back into your shadow. Like you were still
It's hard.
still fearful of
it's
your
easy
dad's
when you're not near
disrespect.
him.
Yeah,
Right.
you just still didn't want to disappoint. So when you were that close, you kind of like went back into yourself and were not as bombastic as you typically were when you were away from home.
Yeah.
Was it at the end after y'all got the anvil that you talked to your dad?
We'd already
you talked to him I think twice.
Yeah, so before we went to go get the anvil, I talked to him.
Did you talk to him the first time? Or
No,
did you
we
send
didn't talk to him before the anvil.
Yeah.
We talked after the anvil because he was the only one who could forge the shield.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay.
In
Yeah.
the time amount that we needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
and so then because then we talked to him when we came back.
Yeah.
But then I don't think I talked to him that
He
time.
didn't, I don't think he
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You dropped the line of the campaign.
Oh yeah.
The line of the campaign.
Right.
Yeah.
When you said the best thing that you ever created won't bear your name.
Right.
I was like,
Right. Yeah. And that's where I wish I would have played up the fact that all his armor and stuff had been stamped or made with his stamp towards like, but I'm not going to carry the name of.
Yeah.
But I just took it as like, you've made all these great things and everybody knows you've made these great things.
Yeah.
But the
Greatest
one,
thing
the
you've
great,
made.
yeah. It's
And I've
just
changed my
so-
name from when it was Steel Forward.
Was
or
that
whatever.
improv or did you have that line in mind?
I'd had that in mind since I created the character. Like, is to
good, man.
one day to just be like,
Yeah.
this is how I tell you that, I'm going to be your best accomplishment.
Right.
But nobody will know that
it's
you're
right, that you have anything to do with
That
me.
is
That's
so
cool.
like
That's good.
Yeah.
that is like masterful.
Yeah.
Like that would be the line,
we
like
suck.
the climax line of
Right, you could do it
freaking-
in a book or something.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
That's good,
good.
man.
Like that people tattoo on themselves and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Yeah, if you get that
Matching
tattooed on yourself,
Matching tats.
well, no, send us a picture of your Yaros tattoo and we'll send you something.
Send you a free dice
Yeah.
tray.
Yeah. We'll send you a dice tray.
Mark yourself forever.
And it'll be branded 20 sides.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Yeah.
Got that for free.
Yeah, that we
We
got
did not
for
pay
free.
for that or make that.
Also, if you could send us the money for shipping, that would be great.
No, I'll pay for shipping. Yeah.
But that's where we took on the Red Dragon.
Yeah. Roll
Yes.
Syndex.
Roll Syndex.
Rolodex.
And Roll Syndex ran away from us.
That's
Yeah, they
that's
did.
true.
Now,
No, we're just gonna.
I'm not
skip
saying you
over.
can do this,
Okay.
but like dragons live for a long time.
100%.
Oh, that's
So
true.
like campaign 2 or whatever,
Right.
it's like you've got that.
In my
Drop that
back pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that would be kind of cool.
And that's where I always, going back to dragons, like we talked about in the previous episode, is is the whole concept of like they're smart enough to not die.
Right. You don't get to be 3,000 years old by just fighting anybody who'll come up to you.
And it's like, well, I'm about to die. I'm keeping on going.
Yeah.
One, that's why I fled. Yeah. But two, I really wish I would have made the shield not take away the entire breath weapon.
Right.
I wish I would have made it give y'all resistance instead of complete immunity to that's lesson learned on my part.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
that was a fun conversation about how far does it go? Does it
does it
That where I was like, and we're done with this conversation.
A lot of math.
Pretty much.
Right.
But so that would also beg the question of, do you even go get the shield? Do you even work to get the shield if it only provides resistance and not immunity?
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So like that was the whole purpose of getting the shield was to provide that immunity from Rolsindex.
Right.
And that would take an entire portion of the arc
Another
out.
great use of Ted in that.
Yeah, that's true.
Just had him put the shield. Let's all stand behind it.
Yeah,
he held the shield.
I think that's one of my favorite arcs though. Like the barrel glades, getting the anvil, seeing all them in their time loop and stuff like that, and then fighting Rolsindex.
And that fight really was the only time that you really kind of did have to strategize as far as like placement and stuff like that with characters. Everywhere else it was kind of like individual.
That was probably the most strategy we ever went into.
Right. That was probably the most.
Yeah.
Well,
everything else like I'm gonna do this. Okay, well I'll do this. That y'all actually had to kind of work together more.
And that was why like in that Silas decided to like
go out,
kind of expose himself was if he is paying attention to me because he knows he can't hit them, that opens them up to be able to just like you know, pelt him and whatever.
But even before getting to Rolsindex, our frenemy
I forgot about how
Niblets.
Did you hear? No, you didn't. This is a perfect example of when this happened. So right before we started talking about that, I was like, oh, we're just going to pass over it.
Let it go.
I didn't hear you say it.
You let it go.
Yeah, I was just going to let it go.
No, we need to talk
Y'all need to talk about that.
Okay, so
she's like,
I have some notes.
So me and my therapist have talked about what actually had happened.
No, I think it really
talked to Carla
stems to
about it.
our previous campaign.
100%. That was my plan.
And I know we've said
we were
this before,
tricked.
and I'm going to say it again. We played a campaign all through COVID. I mean, it was like over a year, maybe two, of every single Wednesday night meeting together and like just online. Yeah, we were safe.
Yep.
Just having fun. And so there was one really, like, I don't know, important moment in that campaign where there was, we were about to go into this cave and there was this like goblin outside, and I was playing a rogue and I hit it and it was like hurt his leg or his foot or something, and then we tied him up outside of the cave. We didn't kill him, but we tied him up. His name was
like,
Sloth.
you can't tell anybody. So, can't warn anybody.
What ended up happening to his leg?
We remember we like made him like a little prosthetic or something.
Because he had to amputate it because y'all just left him out there.
So it's gonna feel we're gonna be sounding even worse in a second. So we go through this whole cave, the entire system, and we're in like the final room, and it's like the two of us and then our other friend, and we're about to lose, like we're about to die. And then we hear something from like the corner, and like he opened a door or moved a rock or something, and it's fucking Slox. There to save the day. This little goblin that's hobbling over to us, and he saves us. And so we just fell in love with him, and he's so sweet, and like the voices Matt makes sometimes are just so cute, and we just, and of course, like, again,
love him.
Not a D&D player, so like I look up Goblin on Google Images, and I'm like, he's so cute.
He's like so ugly but so cute. So we had to have him.
We had to have him. And so he follows us, and like he is part of our core group. And from there on, and for many months after, we collect every single goblin.
We're like, do you want to be our goblin in our goblin army?
Yes, a goblin army. And it, I mean, Lox was like the leader of that. So when we're playing, and this Niblet comes over to us and literally has Slox's voice.
Just so happy talking about Slox. And
then
This is all make believe too.
he traded
The best part about everything else.
He betrayed us in ways we've never been betrayed before.
That tested our marriage, I think, too.
The two of us just really experienced a lot of trauma through that.
Because like the name Niblet, so cute.
So
Voice,
cute.
Slox reincarnated as a little girl
Just miss
goblin.
him so much.
All the like jingle jangly stuff that they had.
Yeah, and just like hurrying through this
hoarding
cave, being
trinkets, tiny
afraid.
things, like
Tiny
spoke
things.
to me.
Yeah, y'all got played.
Yeah.
Y'all got played hard.
And
Because I
never
remember
been
like
played again.
warning, like, you know,
Don't trust
should
the
we don't just,
Yeah,
this is a
you're
kobold
like,
or something. It's like,
yeah,
we don't,
little
or do we want to go in
kobolds.
here or something?
I'm like, oh.
But at the same time,
Well,
like,
and that's why Silas didn't go in there.
Well,
He was
Yeah.
like, I was like, it's gonna be a little tight anyways, and like, I don't know about all this. Like,
Right.
y'all can go in
Talk
there.
like him.
I remember.
Talk like him. I want to hear the voice again.
Slocks.
Yeah. Hey guys. Yeah, man, we were like, we're going into this grandma's house to get baked into a pie. Like, we were like all
Right.
for it. We're like, oh my gosh.
Well,
Yeah,
I
we were-
remember like
And we're like, oh no.
Yaros is like.
I was so genuinely.
Yaros is like, we're
Yeah.
not keeping these. We are not keeping them. And you were like, you don't know it yet, but we are.
We love them. We like, okay, this is our take two, our kobold army, and they're gonna be so friendly and cute. And we know they're like descendants of dragons, but it's totally fine.
Because
Like
there's
they're
good
because it's not
dragons.
them. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
We're not going to a dragon right now.
Right.
yeah, why would they do that
no
when they want to be
connection
when they
with
said
No,
dragons.
there's no possible way.
when they said
They're
they
both
wanted to be
red.
our
I mean,
friend.
no.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's
That's
how
a-
it happened.
And then I was like, burn it down.
And then I'm just like,
From then on, nobody is trusted.
That's
So
like,
it's like,
oh yeah,
from
and then
then
she
on,
seriously,
Right.
I trust nobody.
Yeah.
Burn all the bridges.
Yeah.
Even NPCs that I'd be like, they're gonna talk to this person. They're really gonna like get a lot of information
Like,
from them.
nope.
They're
I
gonna
wanted
like
nothing to do with
them.
it.
They were like, we don't care what they have to
Yeah,
say.
like no new
we
friends.
hate them.
Boom.
Yeah, yeah.
Dead.
Yeah, we have exactly the number of friends. If one of us dies, the next person, bye.
wow, you're out for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah.
Clearly.
You
Can't trust you.
You have to go.
You have to sit on that couch
Yeah,
while you play.
trust no
really
one.
got y'all good.
That was good.
Did.
Yeah, it's hard.
You really did.
And it all like I think people need to understand the build up. The build up of all that was only literally like 20 minutes at the table too.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
how
yeah, that's how the
quickly
whole
y'all fell
thing
in love.
Right. I was gonna say it's not like this has been a characters
Yeah.
recurred.
Right.
And we
Yeah.
spent a lot of time with them. No, y'all.
We spent years with Slocks.
Yeah,
Right.
Years of
that's
Yeah.
true.
slots. But
So-
Niblet, like y'all just walked.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were just walking
Yeah.
on the
We
path
were like,
there.
oh,
Yeah.
like, that just
With
was,
you.
it was
Yeah.
what we pictured.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let me lead you to the lair.
Yeah, come on.
Exactly.
No, like
did.
we were even, I feel like we, or at least I was thinking like, oh, like we're gonna protect them. Like, you know,
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
walking by
Yeah.
themselves,
Exactly.
like only two little tiny
Breaking free.
kobolds.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah.
There it is.
There's that voice.
There's that voice.
Yeah.
That's so
I like
funny.
PTSD.
Honestly, I can't even. I'm gonna have
so
to leave.
fun.
I'm gonna have to
Gotta go.
Yeah,
I'm not
forget
playing campaign two.
Martha, can you
two.
talk? Martha. They're talking about doing it again. They're doing it again. I told you this would happen.
He even used the voice. I told you he would do it.
Yeah.
Did you ask him to use the voice? Well, yeah, but
shut up.
Yeah, it was
That's so
yeah,
good.
it was,
That's good. That's good.
Crying.
So
Where
y'all
are
left?
tissues?
So we
So you
got
take
the
roast
gym.
index.
We got
Or
the
roast
gym.
index.
Gym
Leave.
roast
We got the
two.
gym,
Yeah.
and we took it to
back
Yaros
to the
Faja,
right.
Yeah.
huh?
and he inserted it into Eternal Rest.
Yep.
Rest.
Yep.
And then we were looking
2 of 3.
for a way to get to the third gym.
Uh-huh.
Which is back in the Deep Hallows.
Yep. So
with
what was the name of the city we had to go to then?
Orc City.
The work cities.
But before that, we went to.
Oh yeah, we had to go to the Thieves' Den.
Oh,
to get
that
the-
was fun.
Yeah,
That was
That's
fun.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
Tiefling Taylor Swift and Sexy
Right.
Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Once again, Leo kind of going ahead of the party, sneaking
Yes.
way further than we could get to her.
Right.
And we had to kind of fight to catch up.
That's
Well,
right.
and Ordella and Silas just being dumb, really.
yeah.
Because all we had to do was walk to that door. Like we were in the black where you couldn't see
Yeah.
anything, and all we had to do was walk to the door. We knew where the
true.
door was.
Right,
We
right,
could have
right.
made
But
it
we
there.
stayed fighting.
But we stayed there fighting because we just assumed we were blinded
Yeah.
or something, or they
Yeah.
like for whatever
Couldn't
reason.
find it.
This
Yeah.
is a perfect example.
If we backed
of
out 2 feet, we would have been.
What
okay.
I
would've been
genuinely thought would happen went the a total opposite
And
direction.
it took an hour.
It was a long.
You
It was a
It
long,
was
like it was a
long.
long campaign. So like
Yeah.
I thought
That might
that
have
they
been the
would
whole
go
day.
figure out where the Thieves Guild was, and then Ordella, being a rogue, knows thieves can't, and would talk to them, and they would get past it because the only reason they went there was to get to the Deep Hallows. So
Right.
they just
Yeah.
wanted to use the portal.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to get treasure. They weren't trying to capture anybody. They weren't trying to kill anybody. literally all they needed to do was use the portal.
Right.
They never said that to them once. Like,
No, we didn't do that.
especially with the rogue could have
Right.
like used thieves' cant
But
and
she
said,
did
"Hey,
get
I
them
want to use this."
through.
The
I got through those
Windstalkers had
at
a
the
ton
top.
of info that
Right.
could have shared with them that they didn't get. But like Jess and Tyler talked to everybody and everything. And so they talked to everybody. And
Well,
for
that
whatever
was
reason they did,
post-Niblet.
it was post-Niblet. It was post-Niblet. And
There's
so
the pre and the post.
that's true. That's true. Pre-Niblet,
Forget
post-Niblet.
7.
Forget that.
Forget 7. The true pre and post.
But that was like a perfect example of what I thought. Like I thought that would take 45 minutes
Right.
max at the table, and
Little
then we
bit of
would get
talking,
to
yeah.
that underneath Zerber and a ghoul. And they just went a totally different direction. They were like, "We got to sneak in. We're gonna kill them. We're gonna do this and this." And I'm like, "These people ain't done nothing to y'all.
Right.
What is happening?"
We've
And they
been
did.
through it.
Went through it.
Who could
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
A lot of PTSD happening.
Yeah. Well, that was super fun.
Yeah.
that
It was
fun.
good. It was good.
But we do get to the Deep Hallows. We get in the boat.
We meet that
That
thing
drowning.
We
because we
separate.
didn't talk to
Yeah.
them. Because
Oh,
we
yeah.
didn't talk to.
That's true. You had no clue
We
where
had
you
no
were
clue
going.
where we were going or how to get in or
Yeah.
do whatever. And we came across that amphibious thing,
Yeah, the creature from the Black Lagoon.
the creature from the Black Lagoon.
was
They
like,
took us
"Whoa."
underwater.
Remember,
through
I
the
saw
city.
her
He
head
was
or something.
getting
and
the
we were
track.
like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Swag.
Okay.
And
Swag him.
yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And he threw up all over me, and so Silas then threw up all over him.
Yes,
And it
I
was
do
just
remember that.
Yeah.
a boat full of throw up.
Oh yeah. He was
Yeah, 'cause
getting, he
we
was
were
getting attacked
separated.
by the Van Roots.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I forget his name.
He gave you the potions of underwater breathing.
We called
Yeah,
him
that
Mark.
was cool. Mark,
Yeah, we called him Mark. We didn't know his real name.
Mark.
Didn't
I mean, like
translate
he,
well, so we
it was
yeah,
probably
he-
like or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll call
We
you
called him
Mark.
yeah,
Yeah.
nobody
I
knew
got that.
the language,
Yeah.
so.
But yeah, he took us underwater
Yes.
in underneath
That city.
the city
Yeah,
of
that was
Zerbanagul.
cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
And then he
Reminded me of
used
Harry Potter.
the line "Stalk the Wind by Night"
Mhm.
on the door to get y'all underneath, and then y'all got to the exact same door.
After this had been a minute.
It had been like a month.
We
Yeah.
had to
Month.
fight. We had to fight through those.
Hydra, Hydra we fought.
Well, we didn't have to really fight through that.
You didn't fight- you
we-
didn't fight
we got past-
anything.
Yeah,
right,
we got past
right,
everything.
banished
Except the,
things and-
except the Mama Van Roof,
Mama Van
which
Roof.
almost ended y'all
Yeah.
until she polymorphed it.
Right.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
one was again. It's a little thing that like really
Yeah.
got us.
Was that
Yeah.
the first polymorph?
Oh, that's a good question.
No, because I remember I had polymorphed into that little chitin and the little
inside the forge.
inside the forge.
I forgot about
and
that.
got the little like coal out, and I was like,
That was so good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just another
so
random
cute.
moment where it's just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
we might just had to go there and grab it and walk out.
Yeah.
No.
And instead of it, Silas is crying.
Yeah.
kill him.
Silas is crying, talking about his dog that he loves so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
Yes.
gonna make it extra complicated.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
That was good.
But then,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
but
that
we
was
did
the
get back to
first
the
time.
same looking kind of door and had completely forgotten.
Completely
But
forgot.
that's how we got into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had to like go through all my notes, and I was like, was
I think
it
that's one thing we need to do
this?
better this campaign, guys.
You
is
think?
notes.
Note taking.
Okay,
Just
so
a little
Yeah.
better. I
that
didn't take
answers your
one note
question
the
from
entire
earlier
thing.
about perception checks. Is like
Right.
that was one of the only times where they all rolled
Yeah, it
really,
was
really
awful.
low on everything.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to just like give them the information.
Yeah.
Like I thought they would probably remember, like their characters would remember this because it's only probably 5 or 6 hours since they left that original door, and they
Right.
would have thought that. But at the same time, I didn't want to be like, here's the answer, go ahead.
Right.
And so I made them sweat a little bit. I knew they were frustrated.
We were trying to
Yeah.
figure it out. We were trying to do something, but we finally got there
Yep.
and then came across the prison cells.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Y'all underneath in the
And-
dungeons.
And that's where we found Bazik's like
kin.
kin,
Yeah.
That was
cousin or
kind of
something.
interesting. Very Silence of the Lambs.
Ooh,
Where he's kind of held there. He's got
Yeah.
his books, he's got
Yeah.
his stuff, but he's kind of in a cell. He can't leave.
Yeah.
He can't.
In my mind, they were like using his intelligence
Yeah.
to do whatever.
Sure.
Um,
Like Silence of the Lambs, they're using his intelligence to catch the
Oh,
guy.
see, I've never seen Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, Oh, well, it's exactly
Wow.
what you created.
Are we surprised by
Okay.
that? Yeah.
Really?
The mastermind
How have you
is
never seen Silence?
sitting in
That's
this
crazy.
cell, and
Maybe
he has
they
artwork and
Came
pencils
back
and
from
books and
the future. Used
was
your
gonna-
idea.
Go me.
Yeah.
Just some guys that are here in our
His name's
podcast
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
went back and
Yeah, it's actually really
Maybe
good.
I'll watch it.
You should watch it.
I'll watch
It's
it.
actually really good.
Yeah.
I'll watch it with you.
Okay.
This is a scary
The late
movie.
great
Watch it.
Yeah,
Hannibal
it is.
Lecter.
Yeah, it's
So that's all I'm saying. Okay, moving on.
And then the creature, then he like leads us through, but we find that weird art creature, the one that was creating art under the.
Oh yeah, I wanted
in-
to like her.
Yeah.
I wanted
In the tunnels?
or them.
In the
I don't know if
tunnels.
it
I
was
just
a boy
pictured
or a
the
girl.
teenage-
Yeah, that
Mutant
was an
Ninja
interesting.
Turtles.
So like when
Sounds
as a DM yourself, when stuff like that comes up, Bobby's trying to remember what we're even
Yeah,
talking
so I'm
about.
I remember this art
I am not
creature.
creating cuteness. I am creating art.
Yeah.
Not what she said.
Yeah, she was like,
I am
was she
not
doing?
cute.
She's
I
like,
am
"I
an
am a
artist or
creator."
creator.
Yeah, we
And I
found
was like,
something.
oh, I wanted to
going
really
through,
like
we found
you.
something.
She was kind of like an artificer type.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
trash person.
This was before we got into
Okay.
with
yeah,
Bazik.
Like
Yeah.
trash
and
sculptures
we were
type stuff.
yeah, she had like a
Yes.
trash
like
sculpture
droids,
thing she was
trash
making.
droids.
And I guess we had to pass through that for some reason. Well, like what was
walking
the
past.
what was the point
Yeah,
of
why
that
were they
in the
down
scene?
there?
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah.
All right. So
And why are they
as-
so expensive? But yet took days to like attune
Oh,
to.
you wanted it so you could forget about it the next campaign, the
Well,
next
I
episode.
wanted
Which
it
is
so I
also
could
why did y'all not
use
spend
it.
any gold?
Yeah, right.
I did.
That's the next question.
I
Thank
bought
you.
it and then I returned
We
it.
didn't have access to it because Leah wouldn't let us.
Iron grip.
Honestly.
Okay,
Mom
so
wouldn't let us.
this is why I play stuff like that in the campaign that isn't connected at all to the story, is to make the world feel alive.
Sure.
The
Sure.
only reason.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And so you can do something with it if you want. You can not do something with it if you want. It doesn't
I
affect
tried.
anything
Right.
at all. It's
But
just
it keeps you in mind
there.
that there is other people
There's
and things
life happening in the
right.
world.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
I bought
not
one,
just-
and then you were like, "It takes days to understand," and I was like, "Can I return it?"
Yes.
Yeah.
And you immediately
Buyer's
returned
remorse.
it.
I was like, "You didn't even keep the money. I don't even care."
But then we got our
So much
first
of it.
experience with Thormir.
Yes.
yeah,
I think, or did Ordella actually see Thormir
She had interaction.
through the
That-
grate?
Yeah, through the grate.
Through the grate.
Through the grate.
No, we didn't.
Leo had seen Thormir.
Right,
Yeah,
but that's
in
like
my
Because
dreams.
dreams.
our first.
Yep.
Hearing him and seeing him.
Right.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool, especially like the storm rolls in.
That
It
was
gets
awesome.
super
Yeah.
windy. Yeah, like that was an awesome thing.
So while we were playing that out, there was like an actual storm happening outside.
Yeah.
You can hear
That's
it
kind
in
of
the
a-
You can.
podcast a little bit. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't get all the
Yeah.
thunder out. And so like you'd hear it and just like
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And when he took it away
It's
from
almost like
us,
whoever's editing could probably add that in, like
Right.
post if you wanted
it's
to.
almost like
Right, you know,
people
but
can
good effect.
control the weather.
It'd be good.
and he took it away and we were mad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Because you said it stopped raining and stuff during the actual fight, right?
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
was weird.
Once
that you were-
Thormir
because that
left.
other guy, yeah,
Right.
Thormir left.
The reason
Went
it
with
started
him,
was
yeah.
gone.
But we
Yeah.
really just wanted
Which
you to
totally
set the
makes
mood
sense.
for
Right.
us.
Yeah, we just
wanted
wanted
to
to
set
put
the
it
mood.
in
You know,
cooler.
one of
Clouds
them.
hang around, you know?
I mean,
it's not
you
like
know.
they.
We love a gloomy day.
Yeah,
Magical
we do.
clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clouds.
Not the deep hollow.
If you cared about
But I
your
thought so when
party at all.
when we got started with Bazik, I thought
We died there.
this might be it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Like
that
it
didn't
got
go the way
rough
we thought.
fast, like with him. Like, it got rough
They're
real
hitting
fast.
hard, yeah.
And that was the first time one of the big bads actually like really came for us and we
Yeah.
fell. Like we were like
Yeah.
not able to really keep up the way that we
Yeah.
normally do.
Yeah.
I felt
I
like
felt
Bazik
like-
was easy for y'all.
I
Maybe
felt
not.
it ended up being
Yeah.
like
Because that was a split into 2 days.
it was a split. Yeah. And when
2
we
sessions.
left
Left, it
that
was
in the
looking
middle,
dark.
it
Yeah.
was like, whoa.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
might be.
And Thorak was not easy. His little
Yeah.
like assistant
there's
or
him
whatever.
and- yeah,
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
Two of
Two
them.
kind of big
Vorthak.
bad.
Vorthak, yeah.
yeah, he wasn't easy either. Yeah. That was a good. That was
I
a
think
good
they kind of
Yeah.
unleashed
Kinda kept us
early
on our
on. It was
toes
like they
and-
kind of hit some big
They did.
spells, and you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, if they do that another round or two, we're not
Yeah,
gonna
right.
make it.
And he probably had some layer actions or some
Yeah.
crap like that.
Stupid
Just
things he
make
does.
up.
Yeah.
It makes up. I think that also too was like signaling the end. Like
Right.
for real.
Right, we're
Yeah.
getting, like this is
Yeah.
big,
Get to
this
the
is
end
big, this is not a walkthrough like we normally do.
Yeah.
Type
When it
thing,
felt
and-
very like this is somebody we've talked about since the beginning of the campaign.
right.
Yeah.
We've heard his
And
name.
it's like you're finally
yeah.
face to face with him.
Yep.
Finally time to fight him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last gym. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then kind of like also, you setting that stage of like, people are hearing what's going on. You're having this orc city, like now being kind of drawn to you.
Yeah.
Like you need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, and that kind of like intensity of like, okay, it finally happened, but we can't short rest or we can't long rest. We got to get out of here and back down the grate and figure out the way around.
Like, I think it'll be interesting. I don't know what the answer is to this or what the story is for this, but like orcs in Aklura are, for the most part, they're like traditional orcs in D&D, where they're very chaotic and they're very like barbaric. And so like, what does that city turn into with Bazik gone? Like if he led over it, because he had the gem of immortality, like what happens then when he's gone, and who takes over, and is there just internal fighting and this huge civil war, descend into chaos?
It's rare to have an orc city.
Right.
It's usually kind of like in little clans and stuff. So somebody who's actually built up a whole city.
Big
power vacuum.
Over.
Yeah, and so, or does it cause them to scatter completely?
Yeah.
And y'all have unleashed orcs upon the overworld now.
We got our job done.
Yeah.
You got your job. That's right.
We can't worry about everybody else. Yeah.
You can only control yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
That was another thing I thought was cool was in Veil of Shadows that nobody in here listened to.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, I just didn't like. My thing was I just didn't want any kind of. I didn't want any kind of
like spoiler
something
for
happen
that.
there that would like.
Silas gets Silas gets a map. Like Silas gets a map of the Underdark,
the Abyssal Chasm,
right? But it was
the Deep Hallows.
The Deep Hallows.
Yeah,
it
was a specific.
that was messed up. But like, and so what was funny is it's like there have been multiple times that Ordella's been like, "Oh, I have this thing," and he's like, "No, you don't."
I know.
Right. Like it's that kind of thing. And so
that's what you guys
do. Yeah. The green scale.
Right.
That's why.
So
What is
do that.
one time?
no, it happened several times. It happened
Like, I have
several
a
times.
boat. I'm like, no, you don't. Where did you get a boat from?
You let me have a dragon.
So we
Have a boat?
That's true.
Where did you go?
initially when we get out of there,
Right.
and his Bazik's kin is leading us out, right? He says something, and I was like, well, what if we have a map? And everybody's like, oh yeah, because we got a map. And I'm like, so Silas pulls out his map.
Right.
You know,
Another
and they're
strike
like,
against Silas. Like, why are you just
This whole time?
wait
Yeah,
a
you
minute,
had a
and
map
Matt
the
doesn't say
whole
anything, and you're
time.
like,
Where did
okay,
this come
whatever.
from?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, what
And
the heck? Who's sleeping with the DM? Because my friend who's freaking.
But that's
Yeah, we don't get anything.
Yeah, I know. But that's what's cool about how like Matt sets a lot of this stuff up. So if you haven't listened to the Patreon, you should probably listen to the Patreon because there's a lot of things that like are so tied together that you really don't realize. Like, how did Silas get that map? Well, if you'd listened to Veil of Shadows, you would know. But like that, like all that ties in, and so Silas had heard Zalcom's name.
Yep.
But had not heard Zalcom's name from them.
Right.
Even though they knew Zalcom, we hadn't talked about that. And so when he said, like, you would probably need to take this, like, to someone who can read it, whatever, and they're like, Zalcom. And I'm like, why do I don't know
that
the name?
sounds familiar.
And so, like, the way it ties together like that makes it really cool, like a really, really interesting kind of like sub over here that still plays a big role
Yeah.
Right.
in the main campaign.
Well, that's the example of how do I get y'all information?
Sure.
Like, how do I get y'all to know how to get to the Abyssal Chasm? That there is, because like the whole purpose of Thormir hiding his phylactery is so that no one can find it and destroy it, so he can be raised when he's killed again.
Sure.
So like, it's clearly going to be hid in a crazy spot.
Right.
Yeah.
But y'all get that information from Zalcom. So y'all get the third gem.
Yeah.
Then y'all take that back to Zalcom to kind of make up this final play, if you will.
Yeah.
Final
Here's
plan.
how you.
And this
here's
is where
how you find
Zalcom lays
these
out
and,
this information for you.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to
About the
destroy this
phylacteries.
Right.
phylactery.
So then, so that takes us to the Abyssal Chasm.
Yeah.
And things got weird in there.
Things got weird in there.
Spiders. And like, again, back to
Yeah.
the Lichbane way, like the big bad guy's probably not going to be a huge problem. It's the little spiders running through the Abyssal Chasm.
Chucked Yarost off the ledge and all that stuff.
That's pretty par for the course
Yeah.
with us. Yeah.
For sure.
But then coming across Nightmare Riders again was a cool kind of
I forgot about that.
Like callback
Yeah.
with that.
To like show again, show how much we powered up and like
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
stronger.
to see
Much
that
easier.
it's
Like
like it
used
really
to, that was
wasn't
just a huge fight.
Right.
Now
Yeah.
we're just kind of
Y'all
Was it
mowed through them. I think it was like a
quicker?
round and a half.
Right.
Like, it wasn't
Yeah,
even
it's
Yeah.
quick.
full rounds.
And-
And y'all
Quick.
killed.
You know,
because
the-
I remember me and you having the conversation of, well, you probably need like some smaller to take
Right.
away. But they had raised eight skeletons.
and
Y'all
just
killed 8
blessed her.
skeletons and 2
Yeah.
Nightmare Riders in like literally a turn and a half.
And we had, here's the thing, you know, if you're going to provide something to us, let us use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
we had,
Like all
right?
these magic stuff. Like,
Yeah. But we
like
had,
the horses.
we had 3
Like all the
mind
gold
flayers.
Right.
We had
Yeah.
3
the
mind
mind
flayers.
flayers. Yeah, the mind
Two of them
flayers.
died?
And he wouldn't let us use
Yeah,
them.
they're on their
I was
longest
like, I'm going to cast
adventure.
this psychic. He's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if you go back, I can show you in my notes where I put they don't have all of their abilities
Sure,
because
sure,
the
sure,
Abyssal
they're in the
Chasm's
Abyssal
magic
Chasm.
was
Sucked it
leaking.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
I get it. It
Yeah,
made
yeah,
sense
yeah.
when I was hearing it. Like
Thank you.
if they were down here, they would lose some of their power.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the Dracolich. We hit the Dracolich.
Yeah.
Superman
Santa
from the
Gran.
sun, you know, it's not
Right.
as strong.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Dracolich was easy.
It was very
Yeah.
easy.
Very
Yeah.
A
easy.
lot easier than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And I did not hold back. There were layer actions, there were legendary actions, and there was the dragon's actions.
Right.
I didn't give y'all any special things.
Right. I think that's might be why we went into Thormir so
Yeah.
overconfident. And
I
just kind of like,
think
You
so.
thought you
Right.
were rolling.
right. It was like,
And we hit the Dracolich, and again, the Lichbane way.
Yeah.
We were like, let's finish it now. Like, let's go
Right.
ahead and do
I think
this.
we had some
and
momentum
finish it.
there.
Yeah.
Where we're
Right.
just like, we saw
Right.
an opportunity. Like, hey, let's just end this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dracolich had, I wrote down 373 hit points.
Yep. And y'all mowed through them quickly.
Yeah, it was quick.
And this is when at the end y'all get to the orb. Right, correct?
Yeah, that orb, the
Yeah.
spy cam, the nanny cam.
yeah.
Nanny
Oh,
cam.
yeah,
covered.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
His
then-
scrying,
Yeah.
that was Thormir's way. So, like, in my mind, it's Thormir's way to see if somebody is getting close to his phylactery.
Like his ring doorbell.
yeah,
Right.
essentially. It was like,
Aaron, can I help you?
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing here?
Yeah, get out of here.
Hey, we're just Grubhub. We're gonna leave it on your doorstep.
Stop watching
But
us
that,
now.
like,
Yeah, you can
that was
go
a big
back to your
question
job
mark
now.
for us, though, was like his phylactery, what to do with it,
Yeah.
how to, like,
Yeah.
okay,
When-
if we destroy it, he's going to know. We
Right.
can only destroy it with Eternal Rest. We have to put Eternal Rest together, but once we do that, he's going to know.
Yep.
So
Like, and
where-
so it's like all these, like, so that was a big topic of conversation
Right.
that we talked about a lot. Like, okay, we can X, or we can
Right.
do this instead, or we could X and Y
Yeah.
and try to do that, and like back and forth and back and forth. And so that was what led us to Serene.
yeah.
Yeah, because y'all were
Because
like,
we
we've
were-
never been to the big city.
But we knew that there were the mages there.
Yeah.
Like there were other clerics and stuff there. We could probably find some
Yeah.
help maybe
And I think y'all,
if he brought a big army with him.
I don't know if it was
Yeah.
Jess or if it was maybe me saying it, but like y'all went back to the dream she had where the undead and Thormir were marching on Serene.
Yeah.
And I think y'all, I don't know if it made it to the podcast, but y'all talked about like, well, if that's kind of the end game, if that's like what probably will happen, we need to go
We
warn
need to
them.
go there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And it was like, you know, maybe there's some help there. We could probably find somebody to put this in.
Yeah.
And
Who's
just
not Yaros' dad. 'cause
right.
That was like a
and-
big thing.
And that will go ahead and set it off, and we can roll.
Yeah.
And boy,
And we,
did we ever.
yeah.
I mean, we didn't prep any other way. We didn't go
Right.
get healing potions.
No,
No,
I
which
know.
would've
That
been
was
smart.
concerning.
Now, if you'll listen to those episodes, I think it was
Yeah.
episode 118 where I
I
asked
did.
them multiple times,
Would you
Is
want to do?
is there
prepare?
anything else you
Yeah.
want to do?
before
Correct.
you? Yeah.
Or not get another army with you to back you?
Well, that was
or-
Serene.
just
So,
don't-
like,
Right.
to me, that was Serene. Like, if
Yeah.
But you also had a fear that he was going to bring his army with him.
Right, and
so,
so
you wanted to meet him
in-
somewhere on neutral ground.
right, and
Yeah.
so in my head, like, if we know that this is where like the magocracy is, like that means there's some powerful people here.
Yeah.
If anybody can help us, it's them.
Right.
And so let's take that. If he brings an army with him, maybe there's some people that can like pick them off, like Trixie.
Yeah.
You know, where we have a scenario of the rest of that's taken care of, we can focus on Thormir.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Which I feel like we were on a high already, and like we kind of
adrenaline.
Yes, I really, because you would have never known we were going into our biggest battle of the entire campaign and ending it that day. Like the way that it just played out, and the way we like had lunch or whatever, we're like, it was very
it was just rolling.
free.
Yeah,
and
just
just
go.
the next part of the town.
Yeah.
We did not stop and give it. We set up the Matt let us because of, I think I rolled really high on something and was able to like choose where we battled, which was very ironic because like I placed like some of the rocks that later
Right.
Play
where I was,
into
but
the demise.
the literal demise.
And your trap, you set a trap.
A trap.
The most basic.
Yeah.
Where he would basically throw a storm giant who might twist his ankle on this hole.
Exactly.
Like,
These magical runes and like these things.
I thought y'all would go to Thormir's lair to be like, if
well, we
we
talked
get
about
him.
Well,
like
that
we
would definitely be
Well,
a
I know
like,
y'all are
home
like-
court advantage.
But y'all
like,
immediately were like, well, we're
manipulate,
clearly not doing that. And I was like,
That's
we're
right.
gonna throw away
Did
that
they
orc.
know where his
Our
lair
next
was at this
step.
point? They
No,
still didn't know,
no,
right? They would
no.
have to do, yeah.
But if they would have gone and gotten the staff, which I thought they were going to do too, because it's something me and Jess had talked about for like a year.
Yeah.
Where
Right.
she was like, maybe I'm going to go get
But we
it.
kept
Maybe I'll
asking.
go by myself.
Like, we were
where
like,
the
what
staff
is?
was.
So we
Right.
she knew where the staff was,
Okay.
but in our conversation, it was kind of like, okay, so what do we need the staff for?
Right.
And he was kind of like,
Technically.
Don't need
technically
it.
don't need it. And I was like, well, if we don't have it, what? And it was kind of like, I mean,
Right, there just wasn't enough
technically,
to make us. Yeah.
right? There's not really
Not a big enough
And
draw.
so that's where
Yeah.
it was like, okay, we could do that, or we just go ahead and
Yeah, I mean, we definitely messed
Do
up
it.
by not like preparing more.
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure.
Definitely.
But to be honest though, Ordella's fate probably doesn't change
No,
Right, I don't know what
because even with a
Instant.
healing potion,
Yeah.
like when she took that, like you were still at 100 hit points.
I was
like
at
you were
109.
No, it was just
Yeah.
it.
yeah, you were not going to be worried about taking a healing
Yeah.
potion at that point. Like, and same for Yaros. Like, I don't mean, and you were raging. You may not have even
Right,
thought to have or whatever. But so some of that, I don't know how much it would have played
Yeah.
And,
a role in.
and obviously
but-
hindsight, the battle played out as well as I think it could have.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Story
I mean,
wise.
story-wise.
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 Yeah.
Like,
So let's talk about it.
yeah.
Or let's don't.
It's probably better
I
that
definitely
Leo.
talked about
It's probably better that Leo didn't go to the primal void to get, because like even when you and I had talked about it, I was like, oh, I kind of want to go by myself, and maybe that's the turning point where I double crossed you guys.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's true.
That's
But
how I always saw
then-
it. Was like,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
go for the staff, like that's you going
Yeah.
to be with him.
But then I'm like, of course, like in true Jess fashion, I'm like, you're my best friend. You're my best friend. You're my best friend. So I'm like, okay, I don't think if we don't need it for anything, that's gonna like affect his, Thormir's like resurrection or death. I was like, I mean, it just would have been like another episode.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Fighting nightmare riders, and then maybe even possibly like Thormir being alerted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's.
Another
Which,
like
again,
ping,
Speaking of Thormir being alerted, like once that was put
Yeah,
in,
once that last jewel
and
was put
that
in,
kind
he
of
knows.
like you were saying, you hear this
Yeah.
kind of swirling and like that kind of thing. That was a super intense, like.
It was the
just
most
like,
locked in
Here we
everybody's
go.
been.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Here we go. Yeah.
But I just imagine like this little like page boy being like tink, and then like
Right.
like
yeah,
running
run
off
out
with
of-
like this ugly like bowl haircut, just like like heading off, like the little guy that took because we were like, run, dude, like you gotta get out of here.
I kind of liked that the final
Lion
battle,
comes out
like
of the gate.
like all these other places, like the Death Bloom tree and stuff, was like this, like very fantasy,
Yeah.
very mad. It's
Yeah.
like, and then this just the biggest battle happens in just open field of
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
Like
just
a
the
couple
most plain.
trees
Yeah.
and some rocks.
Right. It's
And
not
like
like
not
his
a,
lair. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
like that.
It's like
Yeah.
like nobody witnessed it.
Right.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fate of the
Epic
world
battle.
Right.
happens
Right.
and no one even knew it happened. You know, it's like
Right.
would have known it
That's
happened.
Well,
true.
and we
That's
kind of
true.
talked, but we
That is
talked
cool.
about like making sure we were out and
Far
away.
enough, yeah, far
Yeah.
enough away.
So that like if his army came, it wasn't going to be,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
No collateral damage.
Yeah, so if we-
yeah, exactly.
If we are talking strategy, we did a ton of strategy talk
Yeah.
on this day.
That's what happened.
Between the planning for what it looked like, where it was going to be,
Right.
and even like when it was down to like just the two of them and like what was going to happen.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we
All
talked
that,
for
like,
hours.
left for a while.
we made
Yeah.
him
They made
leave.
me leave.
Like,
Really?
Yeah.
we
Because
were
they didn't
trying.
want. They didn't want.
Yeah, we didn't
Well,
want
because we felt
our
like sometimes we would
brainstorming
say something and then Matt would adjust
Blend.
based
Yeah.
on what we would say.
Yeah,
What is that theory?
Yeah. But like, yeah, that was a big topic of conversation was, okay, how do we, and I think like Bobby put this the best, like, how do we win by losing?
Yes.
Right.
Like, if we're gonna
Right.
lose, like, how do we win in the
So,
long,
like,
yeah.
what round 2, Ordella's dead.
Yeah,
Right.
like
Yeah.
there was no
It's like
way
right
we
at
could
the-
have
Yeah.
resurrected
It's like
her.
Start,
Like,
or did she
I think
start
there was
first?
one round first.
I got to go
You
once.
got some
Yeah.
other big spell once.
Yes.
Yeah,
That hurt everybody.
Yeah.
That got
everybody.
everybody.
yeah,
Really,
Yeah.
yeah.
The second round, you power word killer.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I did one round because I remember we,
You
like my family had like, I had my son with me and my husband was picking him up, like whatever. And so I was like, oh, like I have a 3-year-old. I was like, you get to watch me like play. And I missed both shots. And I was like, okay, see you.
Yeah.
Bye.
And she's
Bad
always
luck.
like,
Yeah.
right, because she's
Yeah.
always like, boom, boom, boom,
Oh, yeah.
60 damage.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
one time, she's like,
With her
miss.
family here to
miss.
see.
Yeah, my family here, it's Thormir, it's my first round.
Yeah.
Right.
And I,
And then you leave, like to say bye to them.
Yes.
You come back, dead.
literally, he was like,
Right.
he was like, whatever. You know
Yeah.
how he does like the year 1,
Yeah,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or
6,
whatever.
yeah.
And he was, okay, Ordella.
Yeah.
The last
You
thing
get
that you
hit.
say.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Because now we can talk about the rocks. Like
Yeah.
we set this out specifically the way we wanted to. And you know, in the past I've like found success hiding behind things.
yeah,
or, like,
climb
on the
up
rocks.
trees, climbing. Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm on those rocks.
Yeah.
And after I missed in the first round, you were like, do you want to move anywhere? And I think I said, I'm going to stay here or move back just a little bit. And if I would have moved more, I would have been out of the
range.
reach, or out of range of
Because
whatever he got.
he was like right at 60.
Yeah.
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 right
And I
at
think if you
60
listen
feet.
back, I double checked to make sure it was
you don't
60
want-
feet
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
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 But that right there, like obviously hindsight again, if she's alive, as much damage as she puts out every
Yeah.
round, and it's like
Oh, yeah.
the fight ends earlier and the rest of this doesn't happen.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just
Right.
like that. And again, he rolled to see who would
Yeah.
cast it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the dice telling this, like how much the dice played here at the end
Yeah.
was just
Oh, man.
crazy.
Yeah, it was
wild.
It was huge.
Yeah,
Wild.
like goosebumps thinking about
Because
it.
because once she died, I think it made all of y'all go, oh, no. Because you
Yeah.
started laughing immediately.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
like one of those reactionary laughs where you're like,
It's
oh,
like,
God.
Yeah.
Like, last, like it
Well,
made,
because
got
we had-
real fast.
We had always talked about some of the different abilities that could be there for some of
Right.
these big monsters.
Yeah.
But then to be like, you're dead.
You're dead.
Yeah.
No
like,
saving
No,
throws.
no
no-
roll,
Yeah,
You made
no
it.
death
They're not
saves,
down.
no-
Nothing. And like,
Yeah.
because even when he said that, I was like, is there a check? Like, is there a
right.
roll she has to hit or
Nope.
something? And he's like, nope. And he read off power
Yeah.
word kill. And like, and what's crazy is like the damage that he had done would have killed any one of us. So
Right.
no matter
Yeah.
what he rolled there, somebody was dying. And it was like,
Yeah.
it just happened to be that
Right.
it rolled
If you had 100 hit
her.
points or less.
And,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she
And
had
like,
exactly 100.
and then like
That's
I
so-
had
Yeah,
enough
so
like
crazy.
gems to like, you know, probably resurrect her, but I wasn't able to cast the spell. You weren't
Right.
able to
Nope.
cast the spell.
Right.
The only person would have
There
been
was-
maybe
yeah.
seven.
Seven.
If he was
Yeah.
still alive at that point.
Yeah, if 7 had been alive, he
Yeah.
could have.
So it's like, oh gosh.
Okay,
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
happened.
So that
Right.
happened.
So I mean, from the
Right off the
onset,
bat.
so it's just
Yeah.
like from there
Yeah,
you're reeling.
you're like,
just
oh,
kind of
dang.
like, what can we even do?
Yeah.
Strategy?
without
What
our
strategy?
And I
What is
didn't
a
hold back.
strategy?
Right,
No,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you shouldn't
Definitely
have.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
At that
yeah.
point, like at that point too, with the level that we're at, like, and this is the
The fight.
Yeah. Fight.
RPG,
This is
so
the
it's
time
like,
where a TP, total party kill. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
It makes
Yeah,
sense.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
but so then what happened? So then Yaros is the next one to fall.
Well, no, y'all, you had to chase him around a bunch, and it was like,
There was some
Well, so
fighting before
something
you.
was about to happen where you killed me and.
so Silas would have been at
Silas.
0, and I would have had to have rolled. I would have had to have rolled.
When was it the lightning sword into the ground where it was like the
It's like your big. I think it felt like it's one of your big spells,
Like
and then I remembered.
stab it
Oh,
in
I've
and
got.
It was
I
lightning
burst.
bolt. It was
Yeah,
chain
burst.
lightning.
Chain lightning
from
Chain
the
lightning.
ground.
Yeah.
Stab
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
That's where I
And-
remember I've got my survival thing to where it's like if I drop to 0,
Yes.
because we at first I was like, oh, well, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wait,
Oh,
this,
yeah,
but then I feel
yeah.
like you had a moment too where you're like, wait, I'm also
Yes.
still alive.
Right.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I had like 1 hit point or
There was
something. It was
there were
something-
several like right after a certain moment, like you crit twice or
I
something
did,
like
yeah.
that, and then somebody rolled a crit
you got
on a
up the
saving
first
throw
time.
Right.
Yeah, I
You
crit
got
on
the
a
first
saving
time
throw.
That's
ability.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what mine was. I crit on a saving
On a
throw.
death saving throw.
That's
and he
what it
popped
That's
back
what
up.
it was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I had fallen. I was flying,
Yep.
and when he hit me,
yeah.
I fell, and when
That's-
I fell, I went to 0.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And that was the one I rolled. I crit on the death save.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
got back up.
Right. So it went from us thinking we had 2 dead people to back to, okay, we're both alive, barely.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is where we
I
start having
had-
the conversation.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
okay.
Leo was an 8.
What do we do?
Yeah, I had to polymorph because my hit points were so low.
Right.
And so I
Yeah.
polymorphed to an ape, and I was like,
Yeah.
what can I do? Like punch Thormir, throw,
Yeah.
and I like tried to throw a rock at him or
you
something like
missed.
that. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was
And then
like, just
Thormir-
don't die.
Thormir downed you.
Yeah.
Then I actually get down. You know, I have to roll.
It escalates.
Right. Because every time
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah.
Because every time I get brought down to 1, I can roll to see if I survive again.
Right.
That time I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yes.
And so I actually am down. I think I rolled a 1 failed saving throw.
Failed one.
Right. So
And
now
then-
you've got the option if he hits
Yeah.
me, he uses his action to hit
You're
me.
dead.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
And what's it called? Eternal Rest is in my hand. He can just pick it up
Yep.
and go.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is where we kind of break and we're like,
Yeah, we're
okay,
like, we need to really
strategy
talk.
session.
Yeah.
How can
Hold
we-
on.
We need to use this thing that's called a strategy, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're like, what's it called?
We
Episode 118.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
that was one of so when we made Matt leave, like, hey, let's
Yeah.
figure this out. And Bobby was the one who was like, if you rip the bag of holding,
Yeah.
all its contents
Like-
go to the astral plane
Right.
and just scattered in the void of whatever.
Yeah.
Which, like, I feel like before you had told me, like, early on, you're like, oh, people are gonna like have a fit because you have too much weight in there, and if it, if it breaks, then everything's gone. And I was like,
Right.
well, no, you're not gonna do that, right? Because like I had like,
Right.
and you're like, yeah, whatever. I don't really
Sure.
care about that.
Yeah.
Well, then,
Yeah.
they like
here
came
we
back into
are.
play.
Yeah, here we are.
So I was just kind of thinking, we had lost.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
how
I did
can we-
too.
I did
I
too.
really
Yeah.
was
I
like,
did too. I did
Yeah.
too.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was thinking, all I could think of was campaign 2 is going to be an apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Like
He
campaign.
takes
aftermath
over.
of-
Yeah.
Right. So all
His
I'm thinking of
role.
is mitigating our losses.
Yeah.
Right.
And which I think is cool because, it's a podcast. The
Yeah.
expectation is you win.
Right.
Right. All
Right.
stories
Right.
wrap up nicely in this bow. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is a cool way of us losing,
Yeah,
but still
but
kind
still
of mitigating
saving.
how
Right.
bad
Yeah.
things really get. So that's why I kind of came up with that plan. Phillips the whole time was like, no, I think we can,
I like
take
mine,
it.
because,
Yeah, you're like, we
because
can
I kept
take
feeling like he's
him.
got to be close.
Close,
Like he
right.
seems
Yeah.
close. Like we've done so much damage at that
Right.
point.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, it seems close. And then there was even one point where Matt said, "It's doable. Like it's doable." And so that was my thought. Was like, let's just keep doing. Let's just keep
Right.
going. See if we can do
Right.
it. But
Then we kind of split to where obviously we're going to keep going. Like, you're not going to just be like,
Yeah.
okay,
Well,
we're
right,
right.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
We're gonna
But
flee.
so she
Not
does
the
the
first time
thing.
you
where-
saw
So
Yeah.
at this point, it's only Silas and Leo up.
Yeah.
Right.
You two
Yeah.
are dead.
yeah.
Right.
And Silas has
Well,
one
no, I
hit
don't
point,
think-
and you're.
I don't
One
think
hit
you were
point.
dead just yet.
She still had.
You were down.
Oh yeah,
For
she had to make
sure.
the decision. Do
Yeah.
I want to give
Do
this
I
to
want
Thormir,
to?
or do I want to say no? And I know
Right.
he's going to kill
Yeah.
him.
Well, and
Yeah.
I want to come out on record saying Thormir would have totally gone against his word and just killed
Yeah.
Yaros
Oh, sure.
immediately.
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
So no matter what deal you made with
Yeah.
him, he
Yeah.
was going to do what was best
Right.
for Thormir.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she
Right.
takes eternal rest and puts it in the bag.
Yep.
Rips the bag. It goes, into the
Yeah.
whatever, along with the phylacteries in there as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
flactors
And then
in
she
there.
spends the next 30 minutes asking if she can do different things with her bonus action.
Even though she had no action left.
Yeah, I was like,
The
well,
next 30
I'm like-
minutes.
Yeah, I was like, well, can I?
Can I just move more? No.
But that
Can
was
I do
such
this?
an
No.
intense moment. And so then what's crazy is he kills Yaros.
Yeah.
And I was like, is kind of like Silas's reaction. Like now Silas is like, oh no. And he's just like
Blasting.
running at him, blasting him. Cause he's like, this is it.
Yeah. I
Like,
feel like
this is
it
where
was
we got it.
Thormir's go then. And then he was going to cast
No,
chain
his
lightning.
only action left. He could only do one thing.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He killed
Yeah.
Yaros.
No.
And that was the end of his turn.
No, I think after that.
Roll the tape. Let's roll.
Roll the tape.
Yeah.
So,
Roll the
I want to
tape.
say
Because remember,
he was
couldn't-
casting chain lightning, and
Not yet.
and Leo cast counterspell.
Yeah.
Not yet.
It
Not
didn't
yet.
No, that
happen
was
yet.
at the
Okay,
very
okay,
end.
okay. That's what I'm saying. So
I
when he
had-
killed Yaros,
Yes.
because remember I crit and then I crit again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did it like 2 or
I
3
crit
times,
twice,
right?
and I
Yeah.
thought like, and you were like, "Oh
could
man, this
maybe end
is
this."
whatever," and
Yeah.
then I missed,
Yes, that's right.
and,
yeah,
then,
yeah.
and then I missed twice.
This is where, did you do the cage around him at one point too?
No.
Y'all talked about that.
about it.
Talked
Yeah.
about that.
Talked about
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
But then it was, then it was Leo's go. Because that was when she tried to do something and then said she laid prone on the ground because she was like,
Yeah, I
whatever.
think maybe she
That
tried to
was
cast
my
a spell
panic
at
attack
him
on
and he
air.
shielded it, or he cast counterspell or something like
something.
that, and it didn't work.
and that's
Yeah.
when.
And then he went to cast chain lightning on
Yes.
both of y'all, and then she
Because
used her
I thought-
biggest
'cause I
level
said-
to counterspell it.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
said I'm down.
Yeah.
Like no
Yeah.
matter
Yeah.
what he, no matter
Yes.
It
what
was the
he.
6 for 6 level.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Yes.
slot yard.
And so,
That's
but
right.
so because you had to remind me, or maybe it was
Yeah,
you that
yeah.
was like,
No, you're back. You're up.
back up
Yes.
because she did that.
Yeah, but
you
if
don't
you
have
get
to roll a
touched.
save throw.
Right.
And that's when I was like, all right, then quicken
Bless.
spell. Let's
Yeah.
do this. And
That's weird.
That's where it
yeah.
ended.
What's taken out of
What ended there?
Oh,
So
the fight.
The
That's when he
fight. So
killed
that's when
Stormy.
I
Hit the last
I
few.
hit the last 2, and I was about to do my third one when he said, "Well, wait a minute," and
So when Thormir dies and his phylactery is still intact, what happens?
so this is the theory, right? Well, not theory. This is should how
This
play
should
out.
how it play out,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it was thrown into the astral sea.
Right.
Uh-huh.
The
Yeah.
astral sea.
Thormir will be raised. He was raised one day later
Okay.
in the astral sea. So the astral sea is like think of space, but it's
Galaxy.
like the
Right.
fabric of magic going around, like weaving in and out and in and out. He now is randomly
Appeared.
floating around
Floating in there.
and
in space. So he's
Probably
not dead.
He's not
Space
dead,
garbage
Right.
is
but he
gonna
probably
get
doesn't know where he
Right.
is, and he probably
Like,
doesn't know how
wherever
to
he
get
got,
back to
like, you
wherever
know.
he would go.
But what's there with him?
Nothing.
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 Yeah.
Not
So
his
his
not
phylactery.
eternal rest?
Him and his
Because
phylactery.
it's all randomly.
It's
so
all
it can
randomly
be as far
dispersed.
away as Marius. Like, it could be
Yeah.
Yeah.
As close
It
or
could
as
also
far.
as
It
close
could be
though.
close. Yeah, it
Just
could
as
be.
big of a
randomly.
percentage.
It's the same percentage.
Yeah.
Not really.
Except for
Not really at all.
except
Because it's
for
random.
one
There's
gem.
infinite amounts
Except
of
for
places.
one- yes.
Not next to him, and there's one place next to him.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
to make that,
No.
but even if he had eternal rest, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have mattered because
Yeah.
she popped out the gem.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
That's
Okay.
Which-
somewhere.
Well,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, Leo has it.
Yeah,
But
Leo has it.
yeah,
Okay,
she has the
okay,
gem.
okay.
But so even if he has eternal rest, it's
He's
not
still missing
eternal
one.
rest.
Yeah.
Got
Like
him.
he
So
would
he'd
need the
have to
gem as
come
well.
Fully
come at
powered,
me.
Right.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
yeah, if it was still in there, that's something else we talked about. If we left it in there, he has
Yeah.
the ability to always know where
Right.
Where it would
eternal
be.
rest
Like the
would be.
yeah,
So
like
that's
a
why it could
beacon.
be.
Mhm.
So yeah, she popped it
That's why
out,
they
and
popped
then
the gem.
yeah, it's such an epic ending, dude.
Again, couldn't have been
epic.
planned.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you're listening
Yeah.
and you haven't actually listened to all of this,
Yeah.
Sure, we should
that's
enter
how
that at the beginning of the
epic
first.
it is. We
Yeah.
will. We
All
will.
spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Spoiler.
will.
Lots
We
of
will.
spoilers.
Crazy spoilers.
spoilers.
The spoiler.
But definitely start from
Name
episode
of the
1
episode.
Yeah.
and run it all the way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I also say
Really?
that Matt let us decide what we would do, Yaros and
At the
Ordella,
end, yeah.
at the end.
Yeah. That's true.
And we
Did, yeah.
It didn't make
purposely-
it to the episode.
Yeah.
I took it out of the episode.
So yeah, we purposely didn't say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can share it now.
But yeah, so we talked about it, and I thought Ordella could go one of two ways. She could just
Well, so Silas took them
Oh, yes.
back to
Took their
Serene.
body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Took Yaros and Ordella back to Serene because Leo was like, peace out.
Yeah, I bet. I
Um,
was like,
she flew away.
A-Town, bat
And
down.
took them to clerics or the
Yeah.
mages, whoever, with the option to bring them back to life or not. And
Okay.
then it would be their.
yeah. So I decided that Ordella could have just died and say like she tried really hard and like that's what happened, or she could go back and take over Dyer's Rest, and that's what she did.
Go
I feel like
Go
Yaros
back to Dyer's
would have
Rest. Came
had.
back.
Back to Dyer's
Went back to
Rest,
Dyer's
and
Rest.
you know, it's
Claim her birthright.
claim her
Yeah.
birthright, and
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
good safe space again, and
Yeah.
that's where her legacy will live on.
I feel like Yaros had a medical bracelet on that says "Do not
DnD.
resuscitate."
Yeah.
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 A little DNR.
Yeah, I thought his story just ended. Like his whole thing is to be this tale of
Yeah, die a
know,
hero.
right? Die a hero. So it's
Yeah.
like, what would he do after? Like there would never be a fight that big again in his life. Like,
Right.
what would
Right.
he do? So it just
Well, and
makes more
knowing
sense.
that, like, Silas and Ordella and Leo are still there to immortalize everything that happened and like that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So
So where does
Leo
Silas
gonna
go?
do?
Where does Leo go?
yeah,
in
we're-
y'all's minds.
Silas, in my head, Silas just went home. Like, I feel like, I don't think he. I think he was like
He,
that's
like-
because
He's like, that
if
was
you-
too much.
that's
He got
too
a
much.
dog.
He
Gets a new dog.
He's just jogging around the park with his dog every morning.
Right. So if you'll remember, which you don't
He
because you
resurrects
didn't
his
listen to
dog.
Silas, when Silas told his backstory, like he was from a family of farmers that they were still alive and they were still like doing their thing, and he had this vision and was given this to fulfill something. He wasn't 100% sure what it was, but he felt it was fulfilled. So he wanted to go back and be with his family and yes, maybe get another dog. Okay.
A rescue. A good
yeah,
rescue.
What about
for
Leo?
sure.
What's Leo
Yeah.
doing?
I think Leo probably would have went to Yarlet Cove, and where she had her 2-bedroom hut,
Yeah.
and probably researching with Zalcom.
small
she
wedding.
might. I know. Oh yeah, that was funny. We're like, we're engaged. Or she's like, my daughter. I'm like, we're engaged. And it's like, that's creepy. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Leo's story's over. Maybe it's not over. Stay tuned.
That's a good thing about like an elf. It's like they have a long
Yeah.
enough lifeline, or it's
Yeah.
like it can be extended into another adventure towards like humans. Like you have probably enough time in your life to have like one
Right.
giant
One
adventure.
adventure.
Yeah.
Where elves could maybe play part in several.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
So to wrap it up, totally. Matt,
Yes.
as a listener, is there a burning question that you're just like, okay, after all of this is said and done, what the heck happened with this? Or why didn't you this? Or what was the reason for it? Like,
I think most of them y'all answered kind of throughout this whole session or whatever. I try to answer them as we kind of, or ask them as we went.
yeah.
Nothing jumps out besides more strategy, more
Yeah.
spending.
Yeah, more spending.
money.
Sure.
Or spending
Spend
that
the
money to create
spend
strategies.
the money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be all I would
You'll live
say.
and
But
learn.
other than that, I really enjoyed it. I think it was a great
Awesome.
podcast overall. Yeah.
Cool.
Good campaign.
Nice.
Had a lot of fun, everybody.